And welcome everyone to the Crimson Tide Sports Network. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you on this Monday afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well and of course staying safe, staying healthy during this time of COVID-19. Make sure you're listening to your government leaders and doing whatever you need to do to stay safe and healthy during this time. It's time for another edition of Quarantine Q&A, and I'm pleased to be joined today by the head coach of the Alabama baseball team, Brad Bohannon. And of course, Coach Bohannon, it's great to see you. Roll Tide. How's everything going for you?
It's going great, Roger. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, certainly glad to catch up with you on this Monday afternoon, as it's only been a few weeks since the end of the 2020 Alabama baseball season. And Coach, just first of all, your team was 16-1, getting ready for a weekend series against Missouri to start SEC play. Just how was everything going for your baseball team, and then what happened on that Thursday, March 12th, when we got the news that there would be no more college baseball this season?
It's crazy. It feels like it was a year ago, right? It's only been a little over 3 weeks, but it was a really emotional time for us. I couldn't have been more pleased with how our team was playing in all three facets of the game. We were playing outstanding defense. We were pitching well on the front end and back end of the game, and just had really consistent offensive production up and down the lineup. Just the feel of the club, the kids were gaining a lot of confidence, and we were really excited to get into league play and show everyone around the college baseball world that we were for real, because there was no doubt by anyone in the locker room or within the program that we were really good. And so we found out, we were actually had found out that morning that our weekend was canceled. We decided to practice anyway. We were planning on scrimmaging for a couple of days and giving the kids maybe 3 days off for spring break. We were out on the practice field, and when we got word that the NCAA had tweeted out that they had canceled the postseason, the College World Series. So I called the team together. We talked about it. A lot of guys were upset, including me, including our coaches. Pretty emotional time. And, obviously news began to trickle out the next couple of days. And, it's still not easy going on around the world.
Yeah, and looking back at your team, as we mentioned, started 16-1, and when you and I had talked on the radio show, Hey Coach, or getting ready for some SEC Network Plus broadcasts I did, you were really feeling confident about this team, even going into this season. And through 17 games, did the 2020 Crimson Tide really match your vision for what this team could do?
Roger, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry about that. Just looking at the 2020 season, did it really match what you feel like your team could do? Because you seem like you had a lot of high expectations coming into this year about the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, still no audio on this.
Let's see. Going back to the built-in microphone, did just want to see, did the 2020 Crimson Tide really match the vision that you had with this team?
I'm getting the video, but I'm just not hearing anything.
Okay, let me make a couple of adjustments, and we should have this good to go in just one moment. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
Hey, there we go.
All right, good deal. Sorry about that. But you had been really confident about this team going into the season, and through 17 games, did it really match what you were hoping to see out of your ball club?
It was. I felt really good about our club at the end of the fall and in January workouts, but, I knew we had so many new pieces and some really key roles, and I was really confident in Connor Prewett to get off to really good starts. But I've been in the SEC for 16 and a half years now. I've seen some really talented freshmen stub their toe their entire first year. So I didn't want to put any unnecessary pressure or expectations on some guys like that. I could have been more pleased with how some of those young guys were doing and just how the team was doing as a whole.
Yeah, certainly got off to a great start on the mound with Connor Prewett, a freshman that had a lot of expectations on him coming into the season. And then you had to be thrilled with the results every time he took the ball, weren't you?
Connor was outstanding, and it didn't take long for everybody in our program to see this fall that he was kind of in a different gene pool than a lot of kids his age playing baseball. And, that being said, you still don't know how it's going to go for a freshman. And if the season had played out, I'm sure there was going to be a Friday where we had to go get him in the second or third inning. I'm sure he would have had a game on the road in league play where it just didn't go real well for him. I have a lot of confidence that he would have responded well to those experiences. But with that being said, I don't think he could have asked for 4 games to start a career better than what Connor had this spring.
Certainly was impressive for him on the mound, and it really seemed like the pitching staff, the hitting, the defense, everything was playing at a pretty high level. What do you feel like was the most complete game that the Crimson Tide had all season long?
Well, I think we had a bunch of them, actually, and I think what I was most pleased with is there were games where, maybe the bats weren't hot and we played really high-level defense and really pitched to a level, and the lips comes into mind at first. Also, plenty of games where we had a ton of offensive production up and down the lineup. We scored early and scored often. So rather than one particular game standing out, I would just say the fact that we were able to win games in different ways was really positive for this club.
Really positive as well to get a lot of wins at home in Tuscaloosa, a lot of games, of course, at Sewell Thomas Stadium to begin the year. Just how much fun was the atmosphere again this year? And you've been able to see it grow really from your first year here in Tuscaloosa to where it is now, the home environment.
Yeah, I can't say enough about our fans. They've been unbelievably patient and positive as we've rebuilt our program. And, I was talking to Coach Jackson about this the other day. I can feel, even now that our season's over, the excitement of, I think people were really beginning to believe in the product that we were putting on the field. And everybody around the Tuscaloosa community was excited for the start. So I hated that folks that didn't get to come out in the early season get a chance to see this group, but luckily we've got a bunch of them coming back.
Well, we mentioned that we got that news on March 12th that the baseball season would be canceled due to the government standards for COVID-19 and restricting a lot of groups meeting in large numbers. And you mentioned what you told your team that day and the reaction that those guys had. What were kind of the next steps? How quickly did you guys try to get the players back home? Did a lot want to stay in Tuscaloosa, just kind of wait things out? But what were the next steps after that first Thursday?
Well, news came out really quickly, the next 48 hours. And, looking back, I don't even remember exactly which day, but we had a team meeting, and I just told all the kids in the dorm they needed to, move out of their dorm, and told everybody they were dismissed to go home and to clean out the locker room. And, besides that, that's kind of all we've done. We're still trying to gather information. I know there's at a high level, there's been some NCAA things that have come out, still waiting for Major League Baseball to get specific with what they're doing with the draft. So there's a lot more to do, but, I'm not in a hurry. It's early April. We're not used to doing house cleaning items until, May or June. So we got plenty of time to work through all that other stuff.
Yeah, you mentioned what the NCAA did, granting seniors an extra year of eligibility, and I believe some other classes as well. Just how are you guys going to try and manage the roster for next season? Because you have 4 classes for the 2020 group, but then you added in the freshman class that's coming in as well. Just what are the next steps in trying to design a roster for next year, or is that something you're really worried about right now, knowing there is so much more time before that 2021 season comes up?
Yeah, we got a lot of time. I'm used to dealing with roster management in June, so we're way ahead of it. We need to see what happens with the Major League Baseball draft. I don't think it's going to be as big of an issue as a lot of people think initially. In equivalency sports, so a lot of our kids are financing $20,000 a year plus, and they're graduating. So, it's kind of hard to justify going further into student debt just to play baseball when you have your degree. Giving everyone a year back, I do think the NCAA did the right thing, and I applaud them for that. But it's going to cause some issues down the road. And just to use round numbers, if you had 10 freshmen on your team this year and you sign 10 kids in the fall, you're going to have 20 freshmen this next year. So that's probably going to be a bigger issue 2 or 3 years down the road that we'll have to manage over time. But these are unprecedented times, and us, including Alabama, the NCAA, we're all going to have new experiences that we're going to have to work through.
Is it way too early for players to make that decision right now, or are you encouraging everyone to wait to see, first of all, how the rest of the school term goes, and then talk about it more in the summer?
Yeah, again, I'm not in a hurry, and I think everybody's timeline is different. I think some kids know what they want to do. Some kids, may need some more time. And really all I'm trying to do right now is to be supportive of our kids. academically and mentally and emotionally. Just be supportive. We need to finish the semester strong academically before we can even start talking about baseball or the future.
And you mentioned working on academics. Anything the guys are doing at home right now to make sure they stay in great baseball shape? Any specific workouts they're doing or anything like that?
Well, we communicate with the kids and they have workouts to do, but gosh, it's a challenge for a lot of our guys. A lot of the community gyms are closed. The high school facilities that our kids use over Christmas break, they don't have access to. So, I've seen some things from our kids and also, on Twitter that are pretty creative. We got a lot of self-starters, and the good thing is, we want our kids to be working out, but competitive baseball, whether it's summer baseball or next fall, is quite a ways away. So I just want our kids to finish strong academically and try to stay in somewhat decent shape. And we got plenty of time to get in baseball shape once we know when we're going to be able to play ball again.
Yeah, you mentioned the character that the players were having all season long. Do you feel like this was year 3 of the Brad Bohannon era for Alabama baseball, where guys were starting to really turn the corner in terms of the culture that you wanted to have and kind of get over that hump?
Yeah, I was fortunate. I've said this a lot. The group that I inherited when I got the job, we had great kids from day one. We had really high character, good people. And I think gradually over time, we've probably attracted, on average, a kid that's just a little more serious about baseball. I think everybody on this team expects to be a professional baseball player and is just really determined to be as good as they can be, reach their potential. Really applaud Jason Jackson, Jerry Zulli, and Matt Rada for the work that they've done. You have to have physical ability to play in the Southeastern Conference, but also to really thrive in this league are kids that are just really, really confident, mature, and self-starters and driven, and just really proud of the environment that we've been able to create. And a big part of that is recruiting the right people on the front end.
And also with recruiting, not only is the springtime, of course, when Alabama plays its a regular season in baseball, but this is also when high school baseball gets going and is an important time to evaluate prospects for not just the next class for Alabama, but several classes down the road. Just how are you guys trying to approach recruiting right now?
Yeah, it's tough, Roger. We can't go watch kids play, so there's not a lot of evaluating going on. Really, we're just trying to strengthen relationships with kids that we were already actively recruiting, kids that we had seen last summer or in the fall, cultivating relationships and really kind of in a holding pattern, which I think a lot of kids are as well. Hard to make a decision on a college if you haven't had a chance to visit. So, the good thing that I think most of the recruits are taking their time, we're taking our time, and we just got to build relationships until we can get out to the ballpark and watch kids play.
What have been some of the ways you've been able to occupy your time during the last few weeks? Obviously, you're used to being busy, whether it's recruiting or coaching a baseball season, but what have you been doing in Tuscaloosa?
Roger, I'm embarrassed to say I really have realized recently how boring I am. I don't have a lot of hobbies. It was odd going from 100 miles an hour to a screeching halt. The first week was actually nice. I don't get to see Kim or the dogs much during the spring. I've really enjoyed spending time with her and the boys. I've done some things around the house, and that type of stuff. I've been fishing 3 times. I really enjoy that. I guess that's my one hobby. But that was nice for about a week, and now I've got cabin fever. I joke all the time. I wish I was sweating my tail off watching some bad baseball right now.
Yeah, have you watched the MLB Network or anything just to watch some old games just to get the baseball back in your mind once again?
Yeah, there's been some of that, and I've also realized I guess I've been living under a rock. I didn't have Netflix, and I don't watch a bunch of TV, and I've been watching all these shows. We've got this running list of all these Apple TV and Netflix shows that we want to watch. So I'm getting caught up with the rest of the world on some of that stuff right now.
Yeah, of course, your boss has been doing the same thing. Greg Byrne has talked about getting to watch Netflix once again. What's the communication been like from your athletic director to all the head coaches during this crazy time?
Yeah, Greg's been awesome, man. Just tremendous leadership he has shown. And it all starts at the top no matter what you do. And I've said this a couple times. He really put things in perspective for me. He told us in a head coaches meeting, like, hey, guys, I know your whole world is your sport and it's really important, but like at times you got to take a step back and look at this through a community lens. And it's really helped put things in perspective, which I think this whole pandemic probably put a lot of things in perspective for all of us. So Greg's been an all-star, and he just keeps reminding us, stay connected with your kids and just be supportive, and that's really what's most important right now.
You mentioned staying connected. What have been some ways using technology that you have been able to stay connected to your players?
Well, texting is the easiest thing, right? But, I've been joking. I've learned so much more about Skype and Zoom and Microsoft Teams in the last 3 weeks. I didn't even know what, these apps or these tools were a month ago, and certainly I've had to use all of them in the past few weeks. And, thank goodness with technology, you can do more than just pick up the phone and call someone, which is, really nice.
Yeah, and speaking of technology, of course, we're going live right now on the Crimson Tide Sports Network Facebook page, and one of our fans has a question. Griffin has been asking, have you seen the Alabama Cancel Ball Twitter account? A lot of fans online have been kind of simulating some Crimson Tide games just to try to help pass the time. Of course, any baseball game, there's a lot of chatter on Twitter. Not that you get to see it in your role, but do you find it fun that fans are trying to come up with even scenarios that could be happening as if Alabama was playing right now?
Yeah, I think it's awesome, and I have seen some of the cancel ball tweets. I have to say I'm pleased to be leading the West right now. That's a good thing. Really not sure what I had done in the first 17 games, though, to attract the criticism that I have of my abilities to coach third base. That's obviously been a cancel ball issue. I don't know if I'm supposed to be more aggressive or more conservative. But yeah, it's been fun to see some of that stuff, and just really appreciate the interest and support in our program.
Certainly great fan support here in Tuscaloosa for the Crimson Tide, and obviously, Coach, we're hoping that everything can get back to normal, hoping that we can flatten the curve, or with social distancing, everyone can get healthy and get back to a normal school year at the University of Alabama and a normal sports season as well. Just in a broad sense, and if this question's too vague, I can elaborate any more you may need, but just how do you think college baseball is going to be different after what we've gone through this spring?
Yeah, that's a pretty big question. And, I think one thing that this virus has done is really put things in perspective. And, I've never taken the opportunity to be the head baseball coach at Alabama lightly or for granted. And, this pandemic has just really reinforced how much I appreciate the opportunity that I have, how much I appreciate our kids and families, how much I miss them. The facilities and being on TV and the game of baseball, those things are really cool, but there's just no substitute for the personal relationships that you develop in college athletics. So just really miss our kids, and, maybe some positive things from a really high level with the sport can come, whether it's increasing scholarships or something like that. But, that's all above my pay grade. I'm just kind of focused on, our program and our team and our kids. And, that's one positive that I think has come out of this. Focusing
on the here and now, and as we start to wrap things up, just what are some of the next steps that you and the baseball program are going to take the next few days and weeks as we continue to wait out this time of social distancing, especially like we're in Tuscaloosa with a curfew, but just what are your next steps over the next few days?
Yeah, that's a good question. Take it day by day and really just stay connected with our kids and really hopeful that we'll continue to finish strong academically. Jenny Sanders does a great job with our players of keeping them on track. And, hopefully these next 3 weeks we can finish with some good grades and stay on track to graduate. And we'll all sit around and wait for news and just react as we learn more.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time. Apologize for the few technical difficulties we had getting started and even in the broadcast, but thank you so much for your time and everything you're doing during this time for Alabama baseball. Roll Tide!
Hey, Roll Tide, Roger. Thank you.
All right, that was Brad Bohannon. We certainly appreciate the Alabama head baseball coach for joining us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Coming up, we'll have a few more of these Q&As coming up this week. First of all, Eli Gold coming up on Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and then we'll have another Radio Classics interview headed your way on Friday. May even have a few more in between. So for more information, just stay tuned to the Crimson Tide Sports Network. And again, hope everyone can stay safe and stay healthy during this time. Thanks for watching the Crimson Tide Sports Network.